So I've definitely learned a few new keywords in this space. Generally, it's, hey, we want to pick up some leads in commercial cleaning, like office cleaning or residential cleaning, which I'm not a fan of. Those industries are more about recruitment than they are about getting the leads. However, commercial clean, very expensive key term, very hard cost of entry to market. But what I found in the construction space and industrial space is, yeah, lots of opportunity, as most companies are gunning for the standard sort of commercial clean space. And as always, the first thing I do is I want to understand the chunk of the pie. So how many times a month does a certain keyword get entered into Google? And so what I initially do is I pull apart all the competitors and I pull apart all the key terms that might bring us the right value. So I looked at the top ranking sites in all major cities, obviously Sydney, Melbourne. I then look at London, I then look at Canada, and so I've got about 30 sites. What I then do is I look at their sitemap and I pull the URL sitemap, and essentially, which is their list of pages. The sitemap XML file is a file that most websites actually have, and it's a little red carpet for Google to inspect and hopefully index all the pages. You submit your XML sitemap to Google Search Console to say, hey, Mr. Google, here's my map of pages. For someone like me, that's a map of all the pages that they decided to build. Kind of like looking at the cogs under the hood. No, bad analogy, because that's actually something on the site you can easily see. Cogs under the hood is more like backlinks. So I compared about 30 sites. I cleaned up all the pages and basically made this like ultimate list of services provided. Now that obviously includes, it picked up things like residential cleans, and I cleaned them up and removed them because we don't want to target them. So from there, I basically had a rough URL plan of the site and clusters. From there, I pulled a list of keyword volumes, and there was a couple of hundred keywords. So we understood how many times a month are people searching for those terms in Melbourne, in Sydney. Some of these terms did not have a geo variation. It was just literally construction clean. There wasn't much construction clean Melbourne and construction clean Sydney, so they're not using those terms as much as they would in another space. But there was quite a lot of search volume from Google Keyword Plan, which you can see the search coming from New South Wales or Victoria, for example. So we looked at the competitors, competitor pages, we looked at the keywords, then I look at the competitor backlinks. In other words, if we were to begin ranking sites in this space, which I already have 3 sites beginning this marination phase, what sort of backlinks do I need to build to overtake the competitors? Now, backlinks are like trust signals, the votes of trust to Google's eyes. When one website mentions another, that's like a little trust signal to Google saying, hey, it's like a little friendship between 2 sites. And that can get very expensive, depending on the space, depending on the industry. Now, if you're performing construction cleans, then getting links from tradie websites or construction websites are extremely valuable. Bonus points if it's coming from another cleaning website, but hey, I've got hundreds of tradie websites, quite a lot of tradie campaigns, construction campaigns that are in the same city. So guess what I'll be doing first thing when the site begins to marinate through the ranks and index? I'll be leveraging all of my domains to power up my properties. But I look at the competitors to understand, okay, they've got 500 backlinks. What are those backlinks made out of? Most backlinks are just shitty, crappy directories. We still need them. Citations. So what's the actual cost to match this? And a lot of the time, even though the backlink number count might be high, what I pay more attention to is the referring domains that are hitting that site, and also the referring domain organic traffic. So a lot of metrics can be faked. People look at domain authority and domain rating and stuff like that, which is basically can be faked by backlinks pointing to it. But something that's hard to fake is organic traffic. And I believe when I look for backlink opportunities, I want a backlink from a site that is getting some kind of traffic. Oh, my shoulder hurts. I've got a ruck on me, so this thing weighs 30 kilos. So I judge backlinks by the quality of the link, where is it placed, and also the traffic of that page and the traffic of the whole site. And they're the kind of things that I pay attention to when I'm assessing competitor sites. And so I looked through all the competitors in the major cities that we're targeting, and I put together a URL plan, which is a plan of pages. There was about 30 pages that went after. Let me actually have a look at those pages. All right, so here we go. We've got a cluster of pages for industrial cleaning, and under the industrial cleaning cluster, we had factory cleaning, warehouse cleaning, machinery cleaning, industrial floor cleaning, high pressure cleaning, waste removal, kitchen cleaning, industrial kitchen cleaning, industrial duct cleaning, tank cleaning, sanitation, hygiene, waste removal. So basically terms that the intent of those falls within the industrial cluster. Then we had general commercial terms, because the intent of someone searching for commercial cleaner could either mean office, but also could mean a business. There's starting to be like a blend of intent, which could lead to an inquiry that's useful for us. Even though our bread and butter, we want construction and business, but we're not going to say no to a childcare or body corporate or something like that. So here we go: commercial cleaning, office cleaning, gym cleaning, aged care facility cleaning, food processing, hospitality, medical, childcare, restaurant, education, retail, supermarket. Now, these are all pages that I saw major competitors have that were ranking. So one of the first things I pay attention to when I deconstruct a competitor is what pages on their website get the most traffic. And I was able to then cherry pick pages that I'm like, okay, that's an interesting one. I didn't even know this word existed. And so I'm learning. And then comes specialized cleans, which were where someone, it might be a construction clean, or it might be a commercial clean or a residential clean, but they want a specific thing. It might be pressure washing, right? They know what they want. They just want a pressure washer. So here we go. In specialized cleans, we had window, brick, steam, power, concrete, caulking. These are all individual pages. Builder's clean, post-construction clean, site cleaning, eco-friendly, general cleanup. And so after that, I basically plan out in each of those pages what are the LSI keywords and other keywords that mean the same thing that should be on that page. So that way, what I did previously, and these days it's called keyword cannibalization, is I'd build a page for every keyword, even if it overlapped. I haven't done that for years, of course, but it's really important early on to know what other keywords should be and what other terms should be mentioned on that page, so you pick up a wide range of keywords. That's a pretty solid site. Now, on top of that might be additional services that the client wants to offer, or under other industries. Now, a lot of the time I find that search SEO tools might have 10 forecast of 10 visitors a month, or 5 visitors a month, or 0. But I go and build that page, and all of a sudden there's hundreds of visitors a month from Google Search Console or Google Analytics. So in other words, SEO tools, they estimate, they can get it wrong a lot of the time. If the client says, I want to offer a cleaning service to, it could be a metal fabricator, something specialized, or Airbnb clean. That's a common one, right? I just go ahead and build it. And then we see how Google behaves with it. At the end of the day, we can remove it, 301 redirect it, delete it, or Google will do that for us. They'll just no index the page. They'll remove it from the index. Okay, that's from a site construction perspective. From an SEO perspective, we've got it covered, but we want the leads to flow as quickly as possible. So in this case, just like many other local spaces, I set up a Google ad on a precise key term. It might be construction cleaner Sydney, and that will bid on key terms like post-construction, end of construction clean. We'll build a dedicated landing page talking about those services, track record, exactly how we go about things, our clients that we've worked with the last 30 years, and maybe some intro videos with branding and signage. Now, I'll do a separate landing page for an industrial cleaner, which covers all of the industrial cleaning services, and then a separate page for construction clean. So, in a nutshell, we've looked at the competitors, we've looked at the keywords, we've planned out what pages we need to build, we've identified the high intent key terms, the SEO process, we've understood what kind of links we need to build to juice up the site, we've understood the kind of landing pages that need to be created both from SEO perspective and a Google ad perspective. We're going to roll with 2 landing pages. One is for an industrial cleaner and the other one is for a construction cleaner. Each of those pages is designed to sell and convert, so it's a funnel page. The only question is, how much is it going to cost per lead? When I looked at the Google Ads data, the keyword planner, the commercial keywords were like 50, 60 bucks per a click. However, construction cleans were sitting at 10 to 15. So as long as we stay clear on bidding on commercial key terms, I hope we have, on a cold ad, 150, 200, 300 bucks a lead. I'm just making stuff up based on campaigns. Obviously it's a fresh brand, fresh site. We'll see how we go. Now, there was some foundational homework that I set for them. They need to get their brand up to scratch. Photos of the team, signage, vehicle signage, t-shirts, jumpers, logos, just real branding. Bit of an intro video. The gentleman had a really good story. He's been doing this for 30 years, family-owned business. He's got a lot to share on the space. They've got a significant team of specialists. So up goes the team page, the About Us page, about the journey and how they've evolved. So really excited. I've picked up a few domains myself, as always, and let's see what comes from